Take a little seat here now. All right, so we're back at it now. Switch it over. This is my other concept for Gorilla Gamble. Okay, so it's my friend's name, last name. He wanted a gorilla, right? Wanted to incorporate love and coolness, right? So this go around, these are for my color lovers. My color lovers. Okay? So, a few things. I got my my family, right, that I'm gonna be using in order to we're gonna focus on this heart for an example. Okay? So I brought my colored pencils to the table. And first thing that I want you to notice is I have my lines in here, right, from the pencils. I brought over my kneadable eraser this go around, okay? So what's important is that if you want to capture something that's a little bit more realistic, right, something that I explain to every class is that we don't necessarily have lines when we look at each other and we look at items in real life, right? It's cool to have hints if you're trying to be as realistic as possible. For this, because it's cartoonish, we don't need to necessarily worry about that, stress ourselves out, because we could come back and add in some darker lines that that really accentuate, especially if we're dealing with like lettering, right? For this project, right, for your major project or your concept, I invite you to utilize any sort of typography or script that you may want to, right? But just to kick off this project, I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can make this this heart enhanced a little bit more, okay? And so one of the ways is you could go in, if you wanted to, with a tone with just your pencil, okay? And capture your shading, capture the depth by going in with your tones like this, okay? Now, if you want it to be kind of grainy and gritty, don't use a blending stick. But to be quite honest with you, I want my heart to be smooth. So I'm gonna bring in, now look at this, y'all. Now look at this blending stick. I done beat this to damnation. That's all right. What we're gonna do is, it's perfect because we want it to be flatter. And notice how I'm going with the motion of the object that I'm focusing on. I'm gonna use this blending stick just right in this crevice of the heart, right? So notice I didn't use my tip of my pencil or anything like that. I can come back and do that. I want to create that softness in there, okay? So this is automatically going to give a more realistic feel to it because I have this gray undertone, right? If you're ever looking to make something a little bit more realistic, and I know I'm abusing this word, all right, there's going to be tones that are an undercurrent to the color that we're working with, okay? So even when folks are shading or looking to do something like a lemon, for example, is actually gray that you're going to use for your shading, as opposed to something still within that warm family of yellow, which would be like an orange or like a cadmium yellow or something like that, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my darkest colors and I'm going to work my way lightest, okay? So just coming over here, and it's going to be the same thing while you're working through your object. So because I have this gray undertone, I don't need to press that heavy when it comes to my darker colors, okay? And when it comes to color pencils, it's really all about layering, okay? The more layers you have, the more pigment you lay down, which means the more depth you have for the color that you're utilizing, right? So for example, a lot of folks, when they ask me the medium that I do, especially portraits in, when I and they happen to be colored pencil, they're like, "Ooh, what's that? You capture that really, really well." Oftentimes they think that it's either an oil painting, or they think that it's a mixed medium utilization of like acrylic and maybe something else that has like a little bit of a richer feel to it, but it's actually colored pencil, right? And the main thing is that I'm using multiple layers, sometimes like 14 layers or more, in order to capture every single element, every single nook and cranny of my subject matter, especially when it comes to portraiture, especially when I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible. Okay? So now what I'm doing here is I'm coming in with this poppy red over the top. So this is my second lightest color, right? So I went from like a magenta type of color, right? I'll give you the exact one. Was it crimson? Yep, it's crimson red. One of my favorites. Okay. And notice how I'm leaving all this space open. Sometimes I still want to even come back with my eraser just to make sure that that is as pure as possible, so I don't contaminate my colors. Okay, I don't want any, I just want my gray tones to be where I want my gray tones. Everything else got to be pure. I'm gonna purify this heart, pure heart. Okay, so I'm keeping this all open. Okay, I can see over here, I'm gonna pinch this eraser here just so I get a nice little point. I can see over here, there's a little bit of, I could contaminate it. So I'm just gonna erase there, around there, okay? Now I can come on back with confidence with my lightest tone, which is gonna be this pink here, okay? And it's just straight up pink, all right? Now, as I'm getting to my lighter colors, ironically, I'm pressing a little bit harder. Okay. Coming around here. Notice how I'm going in circular motions. That's something I meant to point out in the last video with just the black and white shading, right? Is I'm going in circular motion. Although it may appear that I'm going a little bit faster, I'm really actually going slow. There may be fast circles, but I'm covering my area in a slow manner to take my time. And going in the circular motion keeps your strokes ambiguous, right? So people can't tell which way I'm going when it comes to, and that allows me to capture whatever form I want and let the form, right, let this heart dictate how it's supposed to feel. Okay, I'm gonna press even harder right in here in my darker areas with my pink. All right, I'm getting lighter still as I get towards my areas of highlights, because that's where I want it to be white. That's where I really want it to jump out more. I'll humor you a little bit, and I'm actually going to outline the heart with my lightest color. Okay, just like so. I'll get a little bit darker right here in this crevice. Okay, where we have that gray tone, but now I'm gonna accentuate it with our color. Okay, and I can go in a little bit deeper. I want that groove to pop out more, I'm gonna go in deeper. Same over here, groove to pop out more, go in deeper. Just like so. Okay, look at the way that pops out. But we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. We're gonna place in the glue to our color. Now, if you decide to work with colored pencil throughout this course, you might hurt me. I'm not trying to run your pockets. I'm also not sponsored by Prismacolor. I say all that to say this. The white pencil is the glue to your colors. It is the glue to your colors. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, just watch, right? It's going to pull in and smooth out your tones. Now, if you do it just like this, this is perfect. It's fine. At the next level, though, if you really want it to be smoother, right, you can kind of see like the grains in here, and that may be the texture that you're looking for. However, I want my heart to be extra smooth, right? So I'm going to go ahead in circular motions. Now, I'm pressing pretty hard over in my lighter areas, okay? Some of the areas you can actually let your paper bang, Let that hang on out. But for these, I'm actually going to go in small circular motions to tie in the pink and the red. Okay, you see how I leave this area open right in here, down here? That gives a little bit more dimension. I'm gonna go in this direction to kind of pull in my colors this way. All right, if you want, you can go right up and go over the pink contour line that we defined, just like that. Okay, and that will also smooth out your lines here. The white color pencil is the smoother. Okay, all right, so you see how this looks compared to over here on this side where I didn't even touch it yet. I'm gonna come over there though, small tight circular motions to bring that out, just like so, just like so. All right, you can even come back with the white and notice how this hump right in here for the heart, I'm actually going to start at the lightest part with the white and then pull around this way so you can feel that heart tugging from the center.